Matthew Judon was a fantastic player for the Patriots this season, and now New England just needs to clone him on the other side. New England Patriots head coach and de facto general manager Bill Belichick had a busy offseason in 2021. He spent a ton of money, drafted the future quarterback, etc. We shouldn't expect a crazy free agency frenzy like we did last season. However, there are some big gaps that need to be filled on the Patriots, and one of those spots is at defensive line, and more specifically the edge defenders. The Patriots have some young, dynamic pass rushers, but outside of Judon and Deatrich Jr., neither Chase Winovich or Josh Uche have been very effective at setting the edge, and that's left New England vulnerable in the run game. Though New England has a few positions that need to be addressed, the edge defender position is a little under the radar, but it's a necessary hole that Belichick needs to address, and there are some options available in free agency for Belichick to explore. So here's a couple that I found, and I just looked up their write-ups on PFF. Now, here's the first one I want to look at is Hassan Reddick. PFF wrote, Reddick has successfully transitioned from an off-ball linebacker to edge rusher, so it's now a question of how high his ceiling can be. He's a bit of undersized and a full-time outside linebacker at 6'1", 235 pounds, but he has a knack of bringing the quarterback. In his 22 sacks since 2020 are the fourth most amongst edge rushers. Reddick can also set the edge moderately well in the run defense and has put up a 68.9 grade through week 13 of the 2021 season. The projected contract for Reddick next year would be 3 years, $11.67 million average per year. Not that affordable of a contract, but one the Patriots could probably figure out, especially if they load it with bonuses and backload the money for the cap. However, one of the reasons I like Reddick, who I should point out is probably a prime candidate to be franchise tagged by the Cardinals, but if he does go to free agency and the Patriots can get a hold of him, he's not great at stopping the run. However, he's good enough that the Patriots can use him as an every down edge rusher the way they used Matt Judon. The problem with the Josh Uches and the Chase Winoviches of the world, they were only on the field in obvious pass situations. And if you look at the Patriots defense, they weren't always in obvious pass situations. They got beat up on the run, and there was a lot of manageable third down. So I think Reddick could bring that piece. Now, another guy I looked at is Melvin Ingram III. We all know what happened with him out in Pittsburgh this year. However, I do believe that he could be a piece, especially if they brought him in on a one-year deal until they can kind of fill that gap. Here's what PFF wrote. Ingram requested a midseason trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers after signing a one-year, $4 million deal in a dead market this past offseason. He has provided a boost to the Kansas City defense that is struggling mightily, tallying 8 quarterback pressures in his first 3 games. Perhaps most importantly, his arrival helped the Chiefs get Chris Jones back to the interior where he thrives as a pass rusher. While Ingram is on the wrong side of 30, he's continuing a streak of 70-plus pass rushing grades that backdates to 2013. There will always be a market for chasing down opposing quarterbacks, and he deserves a pay raise after proving he can stay healthy for a full season and will still produce at a high level. He's got a projected contract of 1 year, $8 million. Again, and I think if you bring in an Ingram, that all depends on what the Patriots see this team being next season. If they do see them as a Cincinnati Bengals who can reach the AFC Championship game, then I think it makes a lot of sense for them to go after Melvin Ingram. I think it's an affordable contract. He's a veteran. I think he'll fit into the Patriots locker room because I think almost anybody can at this point, from what we've seen. And I think that the Patriots should consider it unless they think they're still too far off. However, those are a couple of the guys we looked at. We're going to continue to look at some of the free agents as the season goes on.